The bridge. So the next video I'm going to be showing you how I actually construct it. As you can see down there, I've just used a curbstone as the footing for the bridge by the tea house, and for the footing on the other side I've just used breeze block. Now I'll be putting a concrete mixture in there just in between, just to ensure that the footing itself is absolutely secure. So that's not completed yet. I've simply just got the beams themselves level. So the main struts for the bridge itself, or the joists I should say, call them what you want, they are 200 by 100 sleepers. So those should more than carry the weight of people walking over it. I'll be using decking at the same level as the decking around the tea house. So the top is going to be flat, it's not going to be curved. I was thinking of having a curved bridge totally, but I don't think it'd be fitting with the decking. However, the lower part of that rafter, call it what you want, joist, will be curved. So the bottom part I'll curve it round about to a depth of around about 100 mil in the centre, but the top part will be flat and straight. So hopefully it should look the part, and similarly across the bridge we'll be having decking posts identical to that, so it'll just look all the way across identical. Okay, I've marked out the curve to the arch of the bridge. So what I'm going to do now, I'm using this electrical chainsaw. I've started off already, and because it's quite thick, 100 mil thick or deep, I can't use the circular sword on it, plus it keeps it too straight. So I've got to be careful. It's a good little chainsaw, Makita. Okay, so let's see how I go on. Okay, what I'm going to do next is just raise it up a little bit. I'm getting quite close to the ground now, so I'll put a couple of blocks of wood underneath it. So there you go, I've just raised it just an inch and a half, 2 inches, and that should be sufficient just to let the chainsaw blade just pass underneath. And there we go. How about that then? So the next thing I've done, I've just put the other sleeper up against the one I've just created the arc in, and I've just traced the same shape. So all I've got to do now is repeat exactly what I've done before. Just use a chainsaw, cut that out, and then I can put them both together and plane them to shape. This is the next stage. So I've put the two sleepers together and I've cut them out to the basic shape, as you're aware. So the next step is to plane them to the exact shape that I'd like for the bottom of the bridge. So I've planed it to somewhere near the curve, and as you can see, I've followed the line as faithfully as I possibly can. Okay, a little bit of a mark there, but I'm going to round the edge off anyway, so that shouldn't make a great deal of difference. But as you can see, I've pretty much followed the pencil mark, and what I've got this digital square, and I've put it at 90 degrees. I'm trying to find the high spots, so this is how you get the curve as perfect as you can. And I've marked out the high spots just there. Can you see? You see the light just underneath? Hope you can catch that. And there, the right hand of the two sleepers is slightly too high. Can you see the gap? So I'm going to just plane there. Okay, when you come up here, again, that's as straight as I possibly can get it, considering it's wood. So that I'm okay with that. That's pretty cool. So all I need to do, I'll just plane that down there, and all I'm using is this digital square to ensure it's completely smooth and straight all the way around. So I'm not going to take too much at a time. I'm going to put this down to about half a mil. Not much more, just make sure I don't take too much off. Much more. That's pretty cool. Okay, and as I mentioned before, don't put too much pressure on this because it's not particularly good for the blades. I found that out myself because I blunt the first set quite quick. Just a nice gentle pass. It's looking pretty good. Go to the middle. would say that's pretty good. Now I've just got to make sure now the curve itself is also quite true, and I'll show you the way I'm going to do it. So I've put down some 20mm by 4mm strip metal, and it flexes enough just to follow a curve. So I'll put it at the top there and weighted it in the middle, and right at the end just there I've had to just support the end because a lot of the weight was making it try to straighten out. So at this point I can sort of get an idea just how accurate that planing is, and you can see a little bit of a gap, but come on, once that bridge is down you'll never even notice. You're talking 3-4 mil, that's weighted down in the middle, so a slight unevenness. A little bit there, look, as you can see, pressed down, but there's a line, there's a line, just there, look. I suppose if I planed it just there, that would lower it down again, but by the time I've rounded that corner off, nobody will ever see that. And it doesn't have to be millimetre accurate. Ultimately, it's how it looks, and I'm happy with that. So just to finish that off, I'm simply going to sand it. Okay, so the planer doesn't give you a perfect finish. It certainly cuts down to the shape, but to finish it smooth, I just need the sander on there, and that'll be the final touches just for the bottom. So, as you can probably see, I've already done a bit of sanding, and I pretty much finished it, but I'll just show you all I did. I went crossways rather than following the grain. I find I get a smoother finish by going crossways, and I'll just show you. That way as well, I ensure I keep it completely straight at 90 degrees. I'm only smoothing it off, I'm not taking a great deal off at all. Just finish the top part off there, that's going to be sitting on the footing. And there you go. It's going to be underneath the bridge anyway, but I just think I like to finish things off the best I can. But that's okay, that's acceptable. It won't be on view anyway, but at least it's a nice smooth finish, ready for when I stain it. The next stage now then is I'm going to round off this bottom edge here using the planer. And the way I round the edge off is you'll see a little V just there, can you see it? And I essentially put that on the edge, just like that, and I'll plane it round. Only a little bit, round about ½ inch I think, maybe a little bit more. Let's see how it goes. And then to finish off, I'm just going to sand it. So there you go, at least gives you an idea. Nice, smooth, rounded off finish. The next stage is to split the cut-offs from the sleepers right down the middle to create two 45mm box sections, and that will help to support the main decking that crosses the bridge. There we have them. So I've done that. I haven't shown how I did it, I'd simply just cut it straight down the middle. I've planed them, and what I'm going to do is fit these sections just here, just below the decking, and when the decking sits on top of these here, it will spread the load across the bridge. However, before I do that, I've got to fit the posts, and the way I'm going to fit it is by cutting out just a step just there, and I'll cut the step out in the post itself. That will sit behind just there, and then this section will go right in front of it, and that will help to secure it in place. I've decided to put a centre strengthening beam just down here, just to ensure I get no bowing in this bridge whatsoever. So there you go, I'll just line it up to where the decking actually goes. So that's around about 45 deep there, just for one of the strips of decking. And then I'm going to trace the arc all the way underneath, like so. And then I'll simply just use the circular saw to cut the basic shape. I don't need to use the chainsaw with this because it's only relatively thin. And then I'll just plane it to shape. What I've done to the main beams then is to routed them out in the centre where the post is going to go. So it's 50mm deep by 42.5mm widthwise. So I'm going to cut the base of the post just in half, just a little bit, to a depth of around about 50mm. That will slot in here. I will glue it in position as well as screw, and then I will have a support cross member right the way across there just to compress it in and wedge it in place so the post itself can't move. I've already measured the post and fitted it, so I know it fits into the slot. So the next thing is just to cut the post itself. inevitably the post row is a little bit too long, so I've measured from the top of the band, and by the band I just mean from the top, from just there, the base of that band, round about 94 centimetres down, and that's where I'm going to cut it. That will ensure that the post is at the same height as the rest of the posts on the decking. There you go. We'll just clean that up, make sure it's absolutely square, and we'll try it into that bottom beam. So, next stage then, I'm going to put lots of glue into the slot here, fit the post in position, and then screw it into place. As always, put copious amounts of wood glue in there. Don't be afraid to use it. So, let's put the post into position. There you go. Just squeeze it right home. Make sure it's at 90 degrees. There you go. That's looking good. And 2 screws to lock it into place. Oops. Let's just recheck the angle. I'm happy with that. I'm definitely happy with that. Okay. Oops, get rid of some of this glue. Okay, so there we go. And there we are. What I need to do now is put just as support for the decking. Just in here, it will also serve to strengthen that beam itself. I previously used some of the spare wood off the sleepers to create 245mm square bits of timber. I'm going to use them to strengthen the main beams and also to support the decking. And this is how I'm going to do it. So I've measured the depth of the decking itself. I've drawn a line the entire length of the beam, and then I'm just going to secure this 45mm square section to this main beam. That will add support for the beam, strengthen it, and it will also support the decking. So let's screw it into position. That's both bridge beams and posts into position. The next stage is going to be that centre support for the decking itself. Anyway, that's it for now.